This month we have been celebrating Respect Life Month. We seek to raise awareness of the value and dignity of human life and to actively seek ways to protect and uphold this dignity. If society was perfect, we would have no need of Respect Life Month. Instead, there are many areas where the sanctity of life is under attack. Euthanasia, research using embryonic stem cells, human trafficking, the glorification of promiscuity, and any time we look at a person or group as less valuable than ourselves. Last year at this time, I spoke about euthanasia. This year, I'd like to talk about a very difficult issue, abortion. There is almost never a good time to talk about it, since it is so divisive, emotional, and can be very graphic. This is not about politics. This is about our duty as Catholics to protect human dignity based on the fifth commandment, thou shalt not kill. According to the Pew Research Center, in 2019, 61% of Americans believe that abortion should be legal in all or most cases. They show that 56% of Catholics also believe abortion should be legal. The percentage is even higher for the younger generations. I believe that we have been caught up in the clever marketing and wording of slogans used to promote abortion rights. This happens with a number of current issues. We get hoodwinked by clever rhetoric like pro-choice, women's health care, reproductive rights. Very clever. It seems that we have bought into abortion as a measure of our freedom. But compare this conversation with the gospel today. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. Certainly standing up for people's rights, especially the vulnerable, seems to be loving, right? But let's look at the impact of abortion just in our country since 1973. If you look in our south field, there is a display of crosses put up by the Knights of Columbus. The display is a great visual for a horrible reality. Each cross represents 1 million lives lost to abortion, and there are 61 crosses. I invite you to stop by this memorial and pray. To give a context, 75 years ago, 2 atomic bombs used in World War II at Hiroshima and Nagasaki killed an estimated 220,000 people. Tens of thousands more died of radiation poisoning and injuries. This terrible tragedy scarred the face of the earth for generations. The 61 crosses represent over 61 million lives lost. That's almost 250 times the loss of life of those 2 atomic bombs. Abortion has killed enough people for 500 atomic bombs just in the US so far. I was born in 1973. That means some of my peers are not here. That means their families will never exist. The impact affects generations of Americans. My point, abortion is like a nuclear weapon. It is so destructive. Yet, it is more silent and insidious. It has crept into our laws as a right and a freedom to be protected. We have people protesting using phrases like, no one should tell a woman what to do with her own body. That is a valid point. We should always be loving and caring for mothers and fathers and families in whatever situation they find themselves. Like our diaper drives, like St. Vincent de Paul does every month giving food to families. However, these protests completely ignore the life growing in the womb. If no one has the right to control what happens to another person's body, what gives them the right to take the life of the male or female child in their womb? Who is standing up for their fundamental rights? Who is loving and protecting their human dignity and the value of these yet unborn? We are playing a game of misdirection. It's like a magic trick. A magician tries to get the audience to look at one thing so that we don't notice what he's doing with the other hand. We can talk about reproductive rights, and women's health care, which are good, no doubt. However, we are missing an important piece of information that is critical for the conversation, that there is also a person in the womb. We Catholics teach that life begins at conception. In fact, there is a great scene in the Gospel of Luke where the Blessed Virgin Mary visits her cousin Elizabeth. When Elizabeth hears Mary's voice, it is not Elizabeth who leaps for joy. It is the unborn John the Baptist in the womb that leaps for joy at the unborn Jesus' presence. The science shows that there are identifying characteristics developed at only a few weeks of life. A heartbeat, fingerprints, reacting to stimuli, all normal measures of a living being. Who isn't aware that moms can feel the baby's kick? Dads can actually see her and feel her belly move. How can we ignore the obvious? There is a life present. And we are to love and protect the safety of this person against all those who would seek to harm them. I appreciate the quote, "All it takes for evil to succeed is for the good man to do nothing." That is what we as a society are letting happen. Just look at the 61 crosses, which I guess can also stand for 61% who support legal abortion. As Catholics, we are called to love and respect all life from conception until natural death. We are called to love all people, whether they are wanted or convenient or a result of violence or bad choices. All people have rights. None of those rights can happen unless they are first given the right to live. We are called to take our obligation seriously, to make choices that honor and respect all life from conception until natural death. Let us study the issues and form our consciences in the truth. Let us use our voices. Let us make personal choices to uphold the dignity of human life at every stage of life. Let us pray for all those affected. Let us pray for mercy. Let us pray for healing. Let us pray for loving choices. We have resources, the Sisters of Life, Confession, Rachel's Vineyard, all kinds of resources to help people healing from abortion. God created man and woman and the world around us and saw it was very good. Then God gave them dominion to cultivate and protect this world. We do this by loving God, following His commands, and loving our neighbor. Will we stand up for and promote a culture of life?